Well, student, very good morning to all of you. And as you know that the chapter "The Glimpses of the Past" is running on, and the student in this chapter we will study the previous cycle of the independence. That means independence means when a person have a right to do their things by their own will, that is known as independence in or according to law. But when British used to rule here, then our all rights had been diminished. So, student, when our fundamental right diminished, then we haven't right remained to use. So, when you think about that era, that you will find that era was very pitiable condition, and the people haven't right to use their own things according to their own will. So, if you want to study them, then you have need a deep study about the British rules and British rulers. In this literature, I have not a lot of area in which I will give you a lot of information about the history and about the British rule, because it's a literature. So we will discuss here the main point of the things what the narrator want to express. But if you want to deep study, then you have to focus on your history. So let's discuss about the third, the British rule, which is 1765 to 1836, when religions were thought to be dominant in our nation, and the many preachers give the preach of the domination of religions. So what the things is saying here, religious leader preached ideas of untouchabilities and the child marriage. Then religious leader preached the ideas like untouchability and the child marriage. Anyone who crosses the seas loses his religion. That means on that moment when some blood religions or the blood tradition is were running on in our society, that was untouchability and the child marriage. And this was a thing that couldn't want to cross them or provoke them. That means it was not a very simple task to stood against them. And the dominant rulers take advantage or privileged of these things in which our all Indians had been shackled. So, in the figure, one of a person asked to the other that anyone who crossed the seas loses his religion. Then what will be the answer? No. Anyone hadn't dared on that time to cross the sea of religion. So everyone or everything was circled by the slavery, religion, caste, creed, and other domestic walls. All the misery in the world is due to the women. This thing shows that our women folk had not such a right as today was given to them in past time. Because in present time they have all types of right. They can choose their working sector like administration, public, and social welfare. That means they work in a political area and they become the leader, and they also work in administration and public and social life. That means they have a lot of opportunity to work to improve themselves. But in past they are just only the name of a trouble. The name of a trouble. That means the person thinks that they are the plot of the society, and even they had to remain under the curtain, and the curtain system was dominant on that time, and sati pratha, these things and Jawhar like things had been in our nation. So on this, according to these things, we can understand that what is the situation would have been on that time when British ruler ruled over India. The truth was that Indian had lost self-respect, and the truth of this thing that Indian lost their self-respect, and the British scorned them, and British began to scorn them. Means and they kept on losing their self-respect and become the slave of the British. So student, these things is not to be explained. These things should be understood and should be think about this, that when your self-respect is being taken away, then what happened? You just become the slave. This is not mean that you are eating your things and you are living in your home. But what about this? If the self-respect is gone, then everything is gone. The natives are unworthy to trust, incapable of honesty, and the Indians and the natives never think that the British were helpful for them, and even they didn't give them a thing that should be prestigiable. So students, here narrator want to express the condition when India suffered from the slavery. And if you have any task to do only to slavery of the British, that means the true your honor, but I am honest. Here you can watch in the figure that the person, he is arguing with the British that he is innocent. But what about the Britishers? They never think that what he is saying. They just talking himself, and this is the person who is asking to him. It's just being a matter of derision. And the all self-respect of this person, what would have been lost, and so he become slave. इस समय इसकी सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट क्या हुई होगी? वो खत्म हो गई होगी और ये एक स्लेव बन गया होगा. Okay, now the next, being merchant, the British wanted quick profit, and the British, even they just used to do to take their rights and want to dominate its religion and its reign But now they begin to think to expand his business, and so they want to quick earning, and for that they increase their taxes, and compel to the Indian to pay the heavy taxes on the field and on other things. They cast a heavy taxes on them, and this was not easy to pay by the Indians, because on that era the condition of Indians was not so good as life. But your main are taking all my crop, you are still arrears. If you don't pay the next week, I will send you to jail. And then they used to take the heavy loans from them, and they also warn them that if you don't pay the tax the next month, then you will have to go to jail. And this was the condition, student. If you are unable to pay your debt, then you are compelled to go to jail. Otherwise, you have to pay your debt each and every condition, whether you have eaten your meal or not, if you have taken your medicines or not, if you have a roof on your head or not. But the main thing is that you have to pay your taxes, what is caused by the British. So this was the pitiable. What about the nowadays? Nowadays government gives you loan on a rent, and he also give you time to pay it. Even if you are if you become bankrupt, then government will reduce your taxes. So this is the welfare for ours in this time. But what about that time? That time British want to take your self-respect, and that's why they used to cast a heavy loan on you, heavy loan on Indians. Still the British invented other methods which gave them more profit. And this was not end of the suppresses. The British kept on thinking about the things by which they can suppress Indians' morality and India's dignity. And for this, they cast a new types of taxes and rules, regulations, and other things. The good manufactured in England shouldn't have any import duty on when brought into India. And what the things which used to produced in England or manufactured in England, they import in India. The goods imported in India, but without any excise duty, without any tax, without any import duty. And they just do their market in India. They sell their goods in India, which is manufactured in England. But nowadays, if we send a things or export or import, we have to give them the export duty or import duty. That means we have to pay the taxes. The East India Company laws began to cripple Indian industry, and this is so far so good. That means East India Company make a plan, and they began to subdue the Indian industry by taking them under it. And one is the main reason to slavery of the Indian, that was East India Company. East India Company had taken the lands of the Indians, and they give them loans, and they cost them a heavy taxes. And even he began to manufacture all the things, and they keep on gobble up all the small industries which is running on India, which was running on India. जो उस समय इंडिया में छोटे छोटे इंडस्ट्री चल रही थी, उसको ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी ने क्या करना शुरू कर दिया? गबल करना शुरू कर दिया. Inevitably, famines followed between 1822 and 1836. 15 lakh Indian died of starvation, and this was the reason when almost 15 lakh Indian dead of starvation, because East India Company had taken all their lands and they caused the heavy loan on them. That in such a condition they are compelled to pay the loan or satisfy his bill. So they preferred to pay the loan, because if they didn't pay the loan, British gave them punishment as a whip, giving the whip. मीन्स क्या होता था ना उसको कि बहुत ज़्यादा मारते थे, उन्हें चाबुक से मारा करते थे. The British policies ruined the export artisans and their business, and the British policies also the responsible to make artisans unemployed by taking their business. So in this way we can say that the British used to do all the tricks by which they can subdue us or they can suppress us. But it is the tireless effort or martyr that stood against the British, and they root out the British from the India. And now we can say proudly that we are Indian and we are free now. So student, this is the things which is explained by me, but I am not quite sure that is the depth of the things. For these things you have to go through your notes, through your English teacher, through your history teacher, who give you all the initial knowledge about this. And without the initial knowledge, I don't think that you will get the complete meaning or the sense for what the narrator want to express by this chapter. So I hope so that you will study the history regarding the chapter. That means East India Company and the rules of East India Company and how the East India Company began to subdue our Indian industries. So I hope so that you will do these things and you will give me a deep information about that what you have studied by yourself and with the help of your book. So I hope so that it will be enough for the day, and you will study and make your notes and make your also the important point of the given topics and send to me, that I will observe that what you have searched and what you have mentioned regarding this chapter. Okay, thank you student.